keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe, it's time for the Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-hosts Cody Tanner and Nick Petzel, and special guest Jay. How are you gentlemen doing this chilly Saturday morning?
Doing lovely, James. Another day in paradise, as some people would say. Jay, how are you?
I was going to say that Jill looks a little bit different this week. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm trying out the new Celsius seasonal flavor. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I'm all geared up, energized, ready to attack this show.
Yeah.
All right. I'm also doing well. I'm excited for this chillier weather. It's going to be a good day for going out. I'm going to be enjoying some nature later here today. So excited for the fall weather. Fall is my favorite season. Football, it's a good, grand old time. So excited to talk Steelers and this exciting Sunday night matchup we have coming up.
Yeah, I almost forgot it was Sunday night. I'm not gonna lie. I was all ready for like a 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock kickoff, and then Nick messaged our group chat for the podcast like Sunday night football at the hotel, and I'm like, dang nabbit, it's at nighttime. So I will be there. James and I have jobs where we get up very early on Monday mornings typically, and so it's those Sunday night games, Thursday night games, Monday night games are very rough. But I will be at the Edinburgh Hotel Bar. Speaking of the Edinburgh Hotel Bar. That is a great segue, James, to talk about our very own sponsor.
I will also be there on Sunday. So
Yes,
if you want to come talk Steelers by the Lake and Steelers in general, come find myself and Cody at the Edinburgh Hotel Bar for the Sunday night game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing well, too. Thank you for asking. Support for Steelers by the Lake podcast is provided by the Edinburgh Hotel Bar, a family-friendly, smoke-free establishment located at 100 Meadville Street in Edinburgh. They offer lunch, dinner, and catering services with private party accommodations available up to 75 people. Details available at edinburghhotelbar.com.
James, I'm so happy you're doing great this morning.
I'm also so happy that James is doing great that I'm going to just pop in honor of James and Jill here. I've gotten Alani this morning, so cheers to
James and Jill.
Yeah, because
we
you don't
always
normally drink an Alani.
That's true.
We each do Alani's in the morning.
I have my iced coffee and my Steelers mug.
Joe a little under the weather, otherwise she'd be joining us this morning. As you see on most shows, she's a teacher and kids have lots of diseases, so
yeah,
she's forever has colds, unfortunately. So
little petri dishes, as my wife used to refer to them.
So prayers up to Joe. We hope she's feeling better and is able to join us later on in the week. Steelers news: some transactions happened, some stuff that's been highly awaited and anticipated for us. The release of Logan Woodside. That's the news, right?
Yep, that's it.
But it was the precursor. Logan Woodside was on the practice squad. He was there because we didn't have a backup quarterback outside of Mason Rudolph. Will Howard's 21-day window has officially been opened. He has been practicing in full all week long. Says he's good to go. That means he's going to get to do the scout team offense now, which is huge because the quarterback in practice that gets the second most amount of snaps is the practice squad quarterback because he gets to run the scout team offense and give you the look for the opposing team that entire week. So this is great for him, for his development, and for the possibility of seeing him in future games this season. Pittsburgh's still sitting at 52 men on the roster, so I could absolutely see him being the guy brought back onto the 53 to fill out that roster. But I think they're playing it cautious because right now you don't have to fill the spot. You never know what could happen in a game. You could have an injury at a position that you don't have as much depth at as you thought you did with one key guy going down, and then you might have to make a move that you weren't anticipating. So they're playing it safe. Also, the window on Sebastian Castro should be open now. So if the Bucks try to switch him back to their practice squad, we could steal him back at this point too. So just something that I've been keeping an eye on. We'll see if that happens or not, though.
And typically on Saturdays is when those IR elevations happen, right? So we could get news on that later today if he's activated off of it.
Yeah.
it.
Expect that to be shared on our social media if it happens. James will be very excited. With that being said, we're going to talk about this Packers game. We're going to go over injuries, the depth chart for the Packers, and then go over our keys to success and score predictions. So first off, we're going to start with the Steelers injuries. Will Howard now officially listed on this injury list with a right hand issue. Was fully participating all week, listed as questionable for the game. Yeah, on the right hand, but it is a pinky. Alvin Austin III still dealing with that shoulder injury. Fully participated all week, expecting to go. Malik Harrison, the linebacker, dealing with a knee injury. Fully participated all week, but questionable for the game. Zach Frazier, this is the big injury for us. The center from West Virginia listed as questionable with a calf injury. Limited participation on Wednesday. Didn't participate on Thursday, and then limited participation again on Friday. That is very concerning. But he says he's going to play. So we hope he does play. We hope he doesn't get injured. We hope everything goes well in the recovery of that injury. Scott Miller listed with a finger injury. Didn't participate on Friday. Listed as out. And then you have the regulars, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and DK Metcalf as the injury or contusion to the birth certificate guys. They're veterans. They're just taking a break. TJ Watt also listed as a hip injury, but I do expect all those guys to go and play. So,
yeah, so it's an interesting list as far as the injuries going on there. I'm very concerned about Zach Frazier if he's not able to go. He's quietly been having a very nice season. There has been very little talk about Zach Frazier so far this season, and that's a good thing. When an offensive lineman's having a good year, you usually don't hear a whole lot about him. The second thing I'm going to say to keep an eye on here is I see a second roster spot opening up here, and it's Scotty Miller. Very low key here. He went from nothing to a finger issue that made him limited to not practicing at all. And with him being out, I figure he's probably got a broken or dislocated finger at this point, being a wide receiver. And if that's the case, I could easily see him going to IR because it's going to take a good month or more for that to heal properly for him to be able to catch a ball again. At which point, there's your other roster spot, right? Because we got two guys that their 21-day window is open with Malik Harrison and Will Howard. That would be the second roster spot right there, which honestly, I kind of thought that Scotty Miller was expendable once Keshawn Williams came onto the squad anyway, because he's looked incredible as a return man. So those are the big ones to me. Guys, do you have any input outside of that or in addition to that on the Steelers' side of injuries?
For me, the biggest thing I saw was really Will Howard's reaction and comments to being brought back. He said he's been ready to go, that he's excited to be getting more reps, and that he actually enjoys running this practice squad offense because that allows him to get looks at our first team defense, to get him reps in, which is something that I love to hear from him. He's not taking any opportunity for granted. And I've always really liked the kid coming out of the draft. I was glad that we were able to get him where we did, because in a lot of the mocks I was doing, as any of you who have listened to the show for any point in time know, I'm the mock draft maniac over here. I've been doing them already for 2026 just to get more familiar with the upcoming draft class. So I love Will Howard. I've always loved Will Howard. I'm glad we have him on the team. I really like the kid's attitude, still do. So I'm hoping that we can, like James and I were talking about a bit throughout the week, hopefully get some double-digit wins in the column here so we can trot him out there for some garbage time and get him some actual reps out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, like, because of how Williams has played, like, they might not need to elevate another receiver. He might have already filled that spot just because of how impressive he's looked and the role that he's been able to take on these past few weeks. So that allows him more roster flexibility going forward with Harrison and also Howard coming back.
Yeah. I mean, the same. You could argue the same thing technically with how many times we use 3 tight ends. I mean, we technically don't need another receiver. So going to be interesting to see what they do with that Scotty Miller position, if he goes to IR, if he gets released, whatever they're going to do. Scotty Miller on the season, I think, only has a handful of targets, 1 reception for 9 yards. So It's not like
and
he's a large
realistically, he's the
impact
odd
player.
man out in the room, right? Because
Yep.
Ben Skoronek's a starting gunner, so absolutely invaluable on special teams. The amount of tackles and plays and fumble recoveries, and he's excellent in the blocking game too. Obviously, the young guys aren't going anywhere with Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin. Calvin's your second best guy, finally back, which is fantastic. But the way Kayshawn's been returning the ball, man, that first punt return he had a couple weeks ago against the Browns that got called back, I was like, well, sorry, Scotty. You're going to lose your job. It's only a matter of time.
And with the injury to Miles Killebrew as well, who I believe was finally officially ruled out for the season on top of that, you need those special teams guys that are going to be able to be around and contribute in a meaningful way. So you have Skowronek out there who's probably going to have to take a bit of a bigger role on those special teams plays because he can do that. He's that guy, like we've been saying. We've really liked his play, both on special teams and on the offense, quite frankly. He had that touchdown against the Jets. He drew a couple penalties, I believe, against Minnesota. So he's able to go out there and contribute in very meaningful ways. And so we might need to see a more – and as Tomlin always says, it's not going to be like a one guy jumps in and replaces it. It's going to have to be a group of guys that's going to step up and really fulfill that role. So having guys like Skowronek out there who can contribute in a meaningful way as a veteran, especially on special teams, is going to be really big for this team in the next coming weeks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's go to the Packers side of things injury-wise here. So first man on their list is defensive lineman Warren Brinson, who I'll admit I'm not real familiar with, but he's got a hamstring injury, was limited in practice this week. They have him listed as questionable for the game. Wide receiver Matthew Golden, the speedster, is questionable with a hip injury. He was limited in practice Friday also, so we'll see if he's able to go or not. But with the hip injury, you would expect him not to be 100% speed-wise, which is good because that was an issue for us last week trying to cover speedy wide receivers. Their kicker, Brandon McManus, with a right quadricep injury is questionable, so I assume that they probably have another kicker on the roster if that's the issue going on with him. Edge rusher Lucas Van Ness is out with a foot injury. So that's helpful. That's one less weapon for them to try to get after the quarterback. Wide receiver Christian Watson with a knee. There's an asterisk next to that. It looks like that means he's returning from injured reserve. So he's still on the IR then.
He's been on that injury since last year. I believe it took him out last season. So he's been trying to come back all season this year.
It looks like they have him designated to return from IR, but still technically on it. So he's in the Will Howard situation there. So that's a good sign for his health in future weeks, but not for this week. Wide receiver Dontavian Wicks has a calf injury and is out. So their wide receiver core is a little bit thin right now. A lot of injuries going on there. And then defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt with a knee is questionable. And he's been missing some practice this week. In fact, did not practice at all Friday. So questionable might be a real generous rating for him. Since they don't have the doubtful designation anymore, I feel like he'd be a doubtful if that did exist still. So those are the guys to focus on here, and it looks like it's real heavy on wide receiver and defensive line injuries for them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
One thing about Watson is everything I've heard this week is they are planning on activating him off of IR. He did have a full practice, I think, Friday. So he looked good from all reports in practice as well. And he's kind of like their Jamar Chase light type guy. Physical, athletic receiver on the outside. They like to throw deep shots too and get the ball in space and things like that. So that'll be a boost to their receiving core.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of their skill guys on offense are beaten and banged up a little bit. So especially that wide receiver group. Josh Jacobs also listed on that, obviously with the calf injury that he's been going through limited all week. And so it's going to be a very interesting game to see what our defense can do. I'm hopeful that they can come out, just pitch a shutout. I mean, let's have a dominant game again. We saw one this year really early, and it was fun to watch our defense be that dominant with 6 turnovers. Then the offense was struggling. or 5 turnovers, excuse me. But now, recently, it feels like our defense is struggling, and the offense is kind of the one trying to hold the game together. So hopefully this isn't going to be, I mean, listen, this would be a great game, Sunday Night Football, to have our first really well-rounded team game where both sides of the ball are doing what they need to do to get a win. And then who knows, maybe we even get to see Will Howard in this game. But doubtful. I would love it, but doubtful. Let's take a look and transition over to the depth chart for the Packers. We'll talk about all the guys on this team. I'll go over offense, and then we can talk about some guys. James will go over defense, and then obviously we'll talk about special teams because they matter. Just ask the Bengals about specific guys over there. But quarterback specifically, Jordan Love. Obviously, this is the big game. Jordan Love versus Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' revenge game against the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is backed up by Malik Willis. I don't expect Jordan Love to have any issues in the sense of hopefully not being injured, but who knows. Offensive line, Rasheed Walker, left tackle, left guards, Aaron Banks. Center is Elton Jenkins. Right guard, Jordan Morgan. Right tackle, Zach Tom. This is an offensive line that has been having an okay year so far. I feel like they're fairly well-rounded. I believe Jordan Love is if I'm not mistaken, one of the least sacked quarterbacks so far this year. But I'll double check that. And then wide receiver room, they obviously have Romeo Doubs, who's going to be playing. Matthew Golden listed here, and Dotavian Wicks. Again, Dotavian Wicks, if I'm not mistaken, was listed as out already, though, so he's not going to be playing. They also have Malik Heath and Savion Williams as wide receivers who will more than likely be getting some extended play time. And then the tight end room, Tucker Kraft, very capable and high pedigree tight end right now in the NFL. Luke Musgrave as the backup, and then running back Josh Jacobs dealing with that with that injury, and then Emmanuel Wilson backing him up. So offense, the big thing here, in my opinion, you guys can share your thoughts after this. Jordan Love is a guy that can extend plays and make things happen. If our defense breaks down the way it has in the past, he can probably make us look foolish. So
I was watching the NFL's sort of preview that they put out for the game, and I believe, I could be getting the name flip-flopped, but I believe Dontayvion Wicks was their most productive receiver last week. So to see him out bodes a little bit well for us. It was Tucker Kraft behind him, and then Romeo Doubs right up there as well. So Matthew Golden, I believe, has had that hip injury nagging him for a little while. So depending on how recovered he is from that, he might be more involved. Hopefully, for our sake, it's still bugging him, and so they limit him. Not wishing him any ill will there, just wishing that he takes his recovery seriously and doesn't get re-injured. But you never want to see a guy get re-injured, and I would much rather see them give him caution and that benefit us than see him go out there and get himself re-hurt. But that being said, Tucker Kraft is a very capable tight end. He can very easily hurt you, and we've seen trouble with tight ends on our defense before. And with the performance we had last week, I'm hoping that we'll be able to eliminate him from the game this week a little bit. Not take him out, but just like make him a non-factor. We saw a lot of trouble last week with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Now, I don't see even Christian Watson or Romeo Doubs being a Jamar Chase T. Higgins combo. But like Jay was saying, Christian Watson can still be that kind of guy if he does get elevated back to the 53 for this game. That can burn you deep. He's a physical guy. So we got to make sure that we're playing a good game, and hopefully our defense comes back and does a lot better than we saw them do last week.
yeah, and he's tied for 25th in least or technically most sacked, so he's 25th on that list, which is low.
25th, like sacked the most times?
No, well, yes. So the high number one being the most, he's 25th, so he's down there.
So he's
Number
getting
one.
sacked a lot, is what you're saying.
No. He's only been sacked 10 times.
Okay.
The leader is
number
Cam
one
Ward
would be
at 30.
sacked the most.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers right behind him at 9. So
Not bad at all. So one of the big keys for me on this is going to be with Josh Jacobs. He's got 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games, scoring twice each of those 3 games. So he's having himself a very nice season. And Jordan Love, very, very precise this year. Just really showing what he can do given the appropriate time. Very little struggles for this offense this season, but one team that gave them big problems and beat them was the Cleveland Browns. What did they have was a very intense pass rush, so it's extremely important that Pittsburgh gets after Jordan Love. He will make mistakes when pressured. That is the one chink in the armor of Jordan Love. If you get enough pressure on him, he'll hurry some throws, he'll rush some throws, he'll not make it all the way through his reads and misread your defense. So got to make sure we get after Jordan, don't give him a comfortable pocket, because if he does, expect him to light us up just as bad as Joe Flacco.
Yep.
Yeah, Jordan Love's got a little bit of Brett Favre in him when it comes to that, where like sometimes he'll try to make the hero throw instead of reading the full defense. So, and also the game against Cleveland, Zach Tom, who might be their best offensive lineman at right tackle, was battling an injury that week, and it seems like he was on the injury report, but is back from that, if I remember what James was reading correctly. And as you were saying, with how efficient Love has been this year, he's 5th in EPA per play against man coverage and 6th against zone coverage. So he's been borderline elite in both of those categories. And the only quarterback in the league who's been better than him in those has been Drake May of the Patriots. So it's, so definitely something to watch out for. And like James was saying too, Romeo Doubs is like that T. Higgins to the potential of Christian Watson being Jamar Chase, and that sort of like more of the possession receiver, more of like the gritty catches, more of the, and Pittsburgh did a good job of shutting him down last week. So look to do the same.
Yeah,
absolutely. So you guys want to kick over to the defensive side of things then?
Let's
do it.
All right. So on the defensive front, the pass rushers, aka edge rushers, really need no introduction, as Mike Tomlin would say. Micah Parsons on the one side, Rashawn Gary on the other. This is an excellent pass rushing duo, and will need plenty of attention from the Steelers' offensive line. On the interior, Devontae Wyatt and Colby Wooden are the starting defensive tackles, with Carl Brooks and Nazir Stackhouse backing them up. So this defensive front has been giving up some rushing yardage. So that's kind of the weakness on these guys here. If you can establish a run game, you can probably get them a little bit off balance. Now, linebacking core, Isaiah McDuffie, Clay Walker, and Edgerrin Cooper. So some good talent there going on as well. And then to the secondary, Kayshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs listed as the starting outside corners. Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams at safety. And then we've got Carrington Valentine and Bo Melton backing up those corners. Not sure which one is their nickel corner because they don't have that listed. But one of those guys most likely scooting over to nickel in their nickel defense. So definitely some opportunities here to take advantage of some weak spots here and there. Another thing that is very important this week is that we have a quarterback who is very good with a hard count, and Micah Parsons is one of the most vulnerable guys out there when it comes to a hard count and jumping off sides. So I think we're going to see a lot of Aaron Rodgers with the head fakes and the chest shakes and stuff, and doing some pretty serious hard counts to try to get them off balance and delay that pass rush. If you can get them second guessing themselves, then you can slow them down a little bit, which is going to give you that extra half second or so to A, get the ball out, and B, let your offensive tackles get in position to properly slow those pass rushers down.
Yeah, and some of the weaknesses they've had in their run defense is a result of that Micah Parsons trade, because they had given up their best run defender on the defensive line in order to bring in Parsons. And seeing additionally the 2 injuries to their defensive linemen, that's kind of how they've solved that problem, or attempted to, is rotate a bunch of the young guys that they have in through there, and seeing Wyatt and the other one that James mentioned that's escaping me for the moment,
Stackhouse.
on their Brinson, I think is who he said.
There's Wooden and Brooks. Oh, Brinson's the injured guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So missing some of those pieces as well will also, so establishing the run will be very, very key, I think, against
And I think we'll see a lot of those jumbo packages from Arthur Smith as well. If it, the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, seeing a lot of Darnell Washington, seeing a lot of, for those of you who don't know, Darrell Warren. His name is actually Daryl Jalen Warren. He goes by his middle name. So I would love to see a lot of Jalen Warren out there because he can throw a block or a chip with some of the best of them. So seeing those guys out there a lot, I think will really benefit us because seeing Kenny Gainwell out there doesn't really instill too much confidence in his ability to throw a block or a chip. He'll put the effort in, but it doesn't always result in the same effort that you see from Jalen Warren. So I think we're going to see a lot of him out there, especially after the monster game he had last week against Cincinnati. It was like 127 total yards or something like that. I think just on the ground, maybe rushing.
Yeah.
So yeah, seeing that dominant of a performance out of him was wonderful. You love to see it, and hopefully we'll see more of him and Darnell out there in these jumbo packages, and maybe James will get his Spencer Anderson catch that he's been waiting for so long. So hopefully we'll see that come out as well.
Nothing like a big man touchdown.
My thing on this defense is going to be is establishing that run, establishing that ability to push the ball downfield on the ground because it's going to open up the pass. But I also really do want to see, we talked about it a little bit last week. I want to see Caleb Johnson get some playing time. I want to see him not go back. Like, I want to see him get potentially double-digit snaps. Like, I feel like he's rarely getting 5 snaps a game right now. And we understand the issue that happened with the kickoff controversy, not even a controversy, the kickoff conundrum, where we gave up a free score and changed the outcome and path of a game we were on previously. But at some point, you got it. He's a 3rd-round draft pick. He's a 3rd-round running back. And I want to see him get some playing time. Watching Cam Scattaboo do what he's been doing and knowing that we got Caleb Johnson before him is driving me absolutely bonkers. Not Caleb Johnson before him, excuse me. But we got Caleb Johnson instead of him. Oh, I want to see some more things out of Caleb Johnson.
And it might just require a little bit of patience, unfortunately, because the easiest path for him is 3rd down back, but he hasn't been doing well as a receiver or a blitz pickup specialist. So that means that his likeliest role is 1st and 2nd down, but you're not going to pull Jalen Warren, especially coming off his best game of the season. So we might just have to be patient and really hope that Pittsburgh's able to get up a couple scores, at which point it makes sense to start playing him a little bit more at that point to keep Jalen Warren fresh for future games. But that's the conundrum right now, is that his best role is 1st and 2nd down, and you don't want to pull Jalen Warren and not have him on the field. So I get it. It's tough. I feel like the most likely thing is to have Jalen Warren do a little bit more 3rd down stuff in order to get Caleb some more snaps.
And the other side of that coin for me too is I like to harken back to the Philadelphia Eagles draft strategy where they draft guys a year or 2 ahead to let them sit behind a capable starter to learn from those guys, and then they have that guy ready to go when they need him the most. So hopefully we can see that similar thing with Caleb Johnson where he's picking up the good things that Jalen Warren does. He's picking up the good things that Kenny Gainwell does. And then he's able to model his game from the experiences he gets from these guys who have been in successful offenses around the league. So hopefully we'll see him develop a lot more. Hopefully we get some of those double-digit games. Then we see Will Howard throwing a out route to Caleb Johnson and Roman Wilson, and we see some of these younger guys out there doing some more stuff to see them develop into hopefully future stars for us. So that's what I hope will happen. Obviously, haven't seen it happen yet, but I'm hoping that some of these guys getting to sit behind some of the more capable, more experienced veterans bodes well for our future as a team and as a franchise.
Yeah, so should we kick over to special teams then?
We should.
All right. So kicker Brandon McManus does have a backup listed. I was wondering about that, being that he was listed as injured. Lucas Haversick is the backup kicker. So not sure which one we're going to see, but one of those 2 guys. We kind of hope for the backup kicker because they're a little bit less reliable typically. They're no Jay Gluss, those backup kickers, I'll tell you that much. Punter and placeholder is going to be Daniel Whelan. Punt returner is Tayshawn Nixon with Matthew Golden backing him up. And then on kick return duties, Tayshawn Nixon again with Savion Williams. Long snapper, Matt Orzik.
Solid. Long snappers matter. Just ask the Bengals.
Special teams, man. Sometimes you're like an all-pro in special teams and you get to go to all-pro games and stuff. And then you join us on a Steelers podcast, and we're pretty proud to have you.
A little shout out to Jay here.
That's what's interesting about the Packers kicking situation too is Haversick's played well the last couple weeks, which leads some people in Packers circles to like think he should get the job even when McManus comes back. But for me, I think like you want the veteran, especially in a place like Pittsburgh, where like McManus has kicked in Denver, he's kicked in the cold, he's kicked in Green Bay the last couple of years. Just that experience, you want the older guy. So I think Pittsburgh would much rather face Haversick in a maybe less than ideal weather conditions, playing down.
Wind coming off the river.
Exactly. So definitely hope to see the younger guy out there.
Yeah. I think I guess we're making the transition to keys to success here.
Yes.
My brain's not working this morning. I apologize. Been up all night.
He's a little sleepy still.
I am. We don't have any from Jill. Jill didn't text us, and that's okay. So we don't have anything from Jill. Do we want to start with the newcomer, Jay? Not the newcomer, but the special guest, Jay, with 2 keys to success.
Jay, we snake it. So if you're going first, you're going last too. You go to that?
That's fine with me. Right. Yeah, I guess I'll take the honors of going first.
Let's go.
I think the key for the Steelers limiting Micah Parsons is, I think, a huge factor. He basically took over at the end of the game last week against Arizona, had 3 sacks, had like 8 pressures. He just had a dominant performance. And with his versatility, he can do it from all around the field. So you have to identify him, know where he's aligned, know if he's coming from a linebacker position, know if he's coming from a defensive end position, know if in a sub package he's lined up over the center and like more of a tackle position. Because of his versatility and because of them not planning in the offseason for him to be on their roster, they've been able to move him around and fit him in some creative ways within their scheme. So I say like limiting him to like 4 tackles or less, just like trying to really just keep him from making an impact in any way would be my key.
Awesome. Nick, you want to give us your first one?
Can do. So my first key to success is going to be really getting our tight ends involved. I want to see a lot of jumbo packages with Darnell Washington. I want to see us hitting Freiermuth. I want to see us hitting Smith. I want to see us utilizing all our tight ends like we did last week. I would like to see each of our tight ends get at least 5 catches. Green Bay is 31st in the league when it comes to guarding tight ends, and I think that's a weakness we can exploit, especially with the guys we have on our roster. So if we can get all of them involved like we did last week, get all of them a touchdown, get Jay some money on his bets over here, hopefully we can see some great success on offense and really just blow them out of the water and get Will Howard in the game.
Now, are you saying 5 catches per tight end or for the whole group?
Per tight end.
Per tight end. That is ambitious. I like it.
I gotta get the conversation going.
Are you including Connor Hayward in that?
No.
No. Okay.
Oh, he's a tight end.
He's a fullback,
Smart.
and he's not even a good fullback.
He doesn't have 5 catches on the season yet, so I agree with your move there. All right, I'll go next so that Cody can.
I knew you were going to do that.
I
knew you were going to do that.
We don't give you the turn because you forget every time.
It's tough to write them down when you go back to back and write it down. So my first one is going to be to limit Josh Jacobs. Josh has been incredibly productive this season, especially the last 3 weeks. So I want to see Josh Jacobs at 75 yards rushing or less. That's going to be a big key, is limiting this rushing game, and it all starts with Josh Jacobs. So no more than 75 yards rushing for Josh Jacobs.
All right, James. I know the moment I say this out loud, James is going to know where I'm going with this.
Win turnover battle.
I'm going to go back to the good old one. Win the turnover battle. But this is listen. I haven't used this all year. I haven't used it once all year. But the reason I'm using it now is we have, 6 games under our belt now, and in every game that we've committed a turnover, or in every game that the other team has committed a turnover, and we've won the turnover battle, we've won. There's been 2 games where we've tied with the one was 0-0, no turnovers in the game at all. We beat the Browns. The other one was 2 turnovers per team, and we lost to the Seahawks in that game. And so win the turnover battle, control the ball. We saw what happened last week with those 2 interceptions from Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that changes the scope of that game completely. And so I want us to go into the Sunday Night Football game and win that turnover battle and be able to hold our defense accountable to doing what they're getting paid for, a lot of money, and hold our offense accountable to say, hey, take care of this ball so A, our defense gets a break, and B, we can put points on them.
Win the turnover battle is Cody's the standard is the standard.
Yeah. It's my Cody Tannerism. Anyways, there's a little bit of other isms going on, but that's fine. The second one is going to be – now I got to think about this. I wasn't ready for this. Okay, second one's going to be don't allow Jordan Love to get comfortable. I want to see us having a total of team 6 sacks. 6 sacks in this game as a team. Minimum. I don't care where they come from.
All right, I like it. I was actually going to go that route, so we're going to pivot, and go a different route here. And I'm going to say that in addition to stopping Josh Jacobs, it's going to be extremely important that we establish our own run game again. Excellent run game last week. Pittsburgh really showed some dominance, specifically with Jaylen Warren. I think this week is the week they break out on the rushing offense. So I'm going to go 150 rushing yards plus for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense this week. Led, of course, by Jaylen Warren. I'm cool with it if we get a little bit of scrambling action to add to it. Some end arounds maybe that we have Calvin Austin, the third back. I wouldn't mind seeing that also. But 150 rushing yards will force them to make some tough decisions with those safeties and open up some more windows down the field to really stretch that defense.
I'm going to do a little bit of talking here to give James some time to write his key down there. But I'm kind of going in the same vein as Cody, but not exactly. I also want to see us get the pressure on Jordan Love, but I have a specific way that I want to see that done. I want to have Nick Herbig see at least 34% of the defensive snaps. When we had Nick Herbig out there against the Browns, we had great success on offense. Now, maybe that was him being familiar with Dylan Gabriel. Maybe that was a product of the fact that Dylan Gabriel is still new. But when Nick Herbig was out there, we were a much more effective defensive front. And then we reward him the next week by cutting his share, I believe, from about 34% to about, I think, 18%, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me when you're going up against a divisional opponent and you had success rushing them with a guy to bring his snap count down the next week. So I want to see him get out there a lot, see us do a couple different defensive looks, keep them on their toes, and hopefully get some more success in getting to Jordan Love in Cody's attempt to get 6 sacks.
Yeah.
I don't think 18% is right from last week because he had 29 defensive snaps. But your overall gist is correct. They definitely had less snaps last week than he had the week before. Honestly, I think the 34% should be even higher.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
at least 34%.
But
more
like
is good. More is good.
I like it. Yeah, got to get after Jordan Love, no doubt. Jay, bring us home, man. What's your final one?
Yeah, I think I'm going to piggyback off you, James, a little bit with the running game because we know Rodgers is going to come out for this game. We know Rodgers is going to bring his best ball. He's going to want to prove a point there, and he's going to get his numbers. He's going to get his stats and everything. But I think we got to focus on rushing touchdowns. That's one area that the Steelers do not have a lot of this year. So I think we need probably look for 2 rushing touchdowns today is what I'll say for my final key.
Are you calling any of them as tush push?
No, probably not. Especially not with Rodgers. I mean, he doesn't look like
he won't even do the tush push. It'll be Darnell Washington, or no, it'll be Connor Hayward.
Yeah.
Low key that I love that our tush push is that effective without the quarterback even being involved. I love that.
It's really funny to watch just Darnell pick up Connor Hayward and push him. Because he does. I mean, he physically picks him up. His feet are not on the ground. Like, it's crazy.
I mean,
In
this could evolve to Calvin Austin taking the snaps and Darno just throwing them over the pile.
in Jill's absence, I'll take a bonus key and say no more tackles by Broderick Jones.
I like it. I like it.
Let's go back to that for a second because that Broderick thing. Aaron did a good job of his interview this week, saying that the cameras didn't show what happened. We saw of you after the fact, but during the game, the camera didn't show you after the fact that Broderick came over shaking me. We had a good time, whatever. He was like, "I'm just 41. You can't do that to me."
Yeah.
So a lot of people, myself included, at first were like, "Come on, yes, you got tackled by your offensive lineman, but don't be a jerk to him." And he wasn't in the end of it, so he was a good teammate after that. So I'm enjoying the Aaron Rodgers experiment. I won't lie, I don't want it to go more than 2 years, but we'll see how this year goes. This is the next game, Sunday Night Football against the Packers. We got to do score predictions before we go off. So I'm gonna go first this time. So screw all of you. What?
Cody, I got a question for you. You said no more than 2 years on the Aaron Rodgers experiment.
Yes.
What if Pittsburgh makes a playoff run this year? Let's say they win like 2 playoff games, don't make it to the Super Bowl. He comes back next year. They win the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. You still only want him for
Toodles,
2 seasons?
ta-ta, sayonara. Because the
out.
regression at 44 is going to be so bad.
Yeah, it sure was with Tom Brady.
Are you comparing a 7-time Super Bowl champion to a 1-time Super Bowl champion? Because that's crazy.
3-time MVP.
We don't have enough white receivers for that comparison.
4-time MVP. That's right. Yeah.
You sure we don't?
Scotty Miller's on his way out. No, we don't.
We still got
Ben
Ben
Skowronek.
And Roman's only a half, so it doesn't count. Yeah, score prediction time. I'm going first.
All right, Cody first.
I have. Oh, I'm gonna regret this. I have Pittsburgh winning 45-17.
45-17. Woo.
And I don't think Aaron Rodgers comes out.
Well, no, because Will Howard isn't even going to be dressed for the game, most likely.
Well,
so.
yeah, but I don't. Aaron's not going to. We could be up 70. Aaron Rodgers not coming out of that game.
I mean, he did let Mason take the kneel downs against the Browns.
That wasn't against Packers.
More than fair. Nick, would you like to go next?
Sure. I have a similar stat line. I have it ending 38-35 with us on top. I'm nervous that we have so many people so far going with us on top because usually that doesn't bode well, but prove me wrong, Steelers.
Jay, go ahead.
I'm actually going to go a little bit lower scoring and a little bit on the other side of it. I think a little bit of youth over will get the win actually here. So I'll go 24-20 Packers with the win. I think
know that if it ends with that score and we lose, you're not coming back on the show.
I'm just happy that somebody gave it to the Packers so far. So
yeah, right.
Balances things out.
Steelers defense looked really old last week.
Yeah.
To be fair, if Jaden was gonna, just so that we wouldn't jinx it. Yes, I am that superstitious. So I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game also. I'm going to go with a 34-31 Pittsburgh Steelers victory this week. Should be a really exciting matchup for those able to watch on a Sunday night game. I don't know why they start these games so doggone late. But I guess I'm going to be taking a nap Sunday afternoon so that I'm not a zombie Monday morning. Yep. It should be an exciting game, though. It should be lots of points, lots of fun, lots of defense. And we're definitely excited to catch this one.
And I'm excited that we're going to be dressed like cheese to throw all the cheese heads off. So
that's such a hot take. That's going to wrap up today's show. We can't thank you guys enough for being here. If you're listening or watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. It's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget the 5-star reviews. Before we go, we're going to talk about one. I can't believe I almost forgot.
What are
James,
we doing?
Do you want me to read this one?
If you've got a handy, yes, go ahead and read it.
Okay, so we did get a new 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Big shout out. I know where this came from. The user is UXXX. Don't know what it means, but we're going to move on. The headline is "This podcast stands out." I listen to a bunch of different Steelers podcasts, and Steelers by the Lake podcast is the best. I love the dynamic of four very knowledgeable friends who aren't afraid to argue and mess with each other if their predictions do or do not come true. LOL. It really is a fun dynamic you don't get on many others. I need to shout out my favorite OG host, Cody Tanner. He does a great job mixing things up with wild takes or decently bold predictions, which also makes the friend dynamic fun. He's also been putting a lot of really great, interesting stats out there for their listeners that you don't hear repeated on the other 5 different Steelers podcasts I listen to daily over and over. Lastly, I love how this week's episode, after a disgusting loss, the co-host still found positive things to say about some of the players. I really needed that positivity this week, and you don't get that with many of the other pods. Thank you, Dylan, our friend of the podcast, Dylan, for that review. We trust me, there wasn't a whole lot of positivity, but we looked for it. We dug, and we found it after that loss. So thank you for those 5-star reviews. Don't forget the 5-star reviews make James Strong very happy. And until next time, this is your host, James, Cody, Nick Pretzel, and Jay, not from Ohio, signing off.
Thanks, Dylan.